All right, so just to introduce myself, sorry, my name is Professor Santos and I am your instructor for this class. I wanted to make just a quick video on Spanish accent marks because since you will be doing all of your work online, there are some Spanish words that require them, and I won't get into all of the reasons why we use accent marks. All of that can be found at the very end of that first chapter that we're doing. I want to say it's page 17, might be like 16 or 18, but it explains in Spanish why we use certain accent marks. But just to kind of break it down really quickly, okay, and if you'll forgive me, I should have done this before I started recording. But here we go, let's hope it doesn't take too long. Nope, there it is. There are three main reasons why in Spanish we use accent marks. Okay, number one is okay, maybe not. Pronunciation. Okay, it helps us pronounce a word correctly, so that when you do see an accent on a word, so for example, I'll give you an easy one, okay? The word, that means telephone, okay? But there's an accent mark on the second E, and so that basically means that you have to put extra stress on that word, okay? So, teléfono, all right? A lot of you might be tempted to say telefono because, and once again, this is all at the end of that first chapter. I think it's page 17, might be page 18, where it explains how Spanish and English are pronounced, and there's certain, pronunciation things that we do. But whenever the word doesn't follow those pronunciation rules, we put an accent mark so that you know how it should be pronounced. So. Once again, this is telefono, not telefono, okay? Also, you'll probably be you'll definitely be learning this word. That word is bolígrafo. Bolígrafo means pen. Some of you might want to pronounce it bolígrafo. Because once again, that's the natural pattern, the natural rhythm that people use. So number one, the accent mark then lets us know that you have to put extra stress on that letter, okay? Number two, the reason why we use accent marks in Spanish is homonyms, okay? And if you don't know what a homonym is is a word that sounds alike, but it can mean various things. So for example, in English, you have to, and to, all right? There, and there, okay? Things like that, okay? Now, in English though, we tend to spell our words differently. So, you have to, T-O, you have T-O-O, to, and you have T-W-O, okay? So obviously you can tell the difference, if you're reading the word or if it's written out, okay? In Spanish, you don't get that. So what we do in Spanish is we add an accent mark, okay? So probably the first one that you will encounter, all right, is tú versus tú, okay? Tú with an accent, tú without an accent. Tú with an accent means you. Tú without an accent means your, okay? So you versus your. The next one that you're going to encounter a lot of in this class is el with an accent mark versus el without, okay? El with an accent mark means he, all right? El without an accent mark means the, okay? Specifically though, it is the masculine form of the. We also have a feminine form, okay? And then the last one that you'll encounter in at least Spanish 1, all right? C with an accent, okay? And then C without an accent, all right? C with an accent means yes, all right? C without an accent means yes, okay? In order, now there's like dozens more of these, but for now, since you're only Spanish 1, this is all you really need, okay? Now, the last reason why we use accent marks in Spanish, number 3, okay? Anytime you have a question word, okay? And so you would always add an accent mark. So for example, the word what, okay, is K, pronounced K. There is an accent mark on the E, okay? In addition, in Spanish, okay, all question words, both, or any question, like any sentence as well, will begin with both an inverted question mark and then a regular question mark, okay? The word donde, which means where, okay? You add an accent mark, all right? And once again, okay? And so I'm gonna also go over how to create these, okay? Now, like I said, the reason why I'm doing this is because if you were in a classroom with me, obviously you would just be writing things out either on a sheet of paper or on a worksheet or, you know, whatever. But because you're taking this class online, you're working on a computer, okay? So if you were just, you know, writing things down, obviously you can just, you know, like I just did, just, you know, make the slash, make the line, okay? And of course, you know, you would be all set, all right? But how do you do it, okay, if you're working on a computer? Well, there's several ways, and it always depends on the type of computer that you have, okay? And so one thing you can do is you can just go to Google, all right, and enter Spanish diacritical marks. That's the technical term, okay? And so you'll come up with all kinds of pages that show you how to create them, okay? And I mean, there are, you know, dozens and dozens. You know, this one says the ultimate guide and how to type. Okay, let's just hit on that one. Okay, and so, you know, it takes you through what the letters are and the different rules. Okay, but of course, it also gives you then, you know, it gives you exceptions. So it gives you an in-depth thing, and it actually gives you some of the ones that, you know, I kind of gave you, all right? And so, you know, it kind of goes through, I got to the point where I was, it goes through if you're, you know, if you're using a Mac, if you're using a PC, and it goes through, like I learned a certain number combination, like Control-Alt-131 was an E with an accent mark. There's a lot easier ways to do it. And like I said, different websites will give you different ways of doing it. And you can even type in like the specific type of computer that you have. I have a Dell because that's, you know, what the college gives me. So I can type in Spanish accent marks on a Dell laptop, and it will specifically give me, you know, how to type those accent marks on my computer. Okay, so that's option one, okay? Option two, and if you recall, or if you please read the announcements and some of the instructions that I've already posted on Brightspace and that I've sent you, you should be doing your work in either Microsoft Word or Google Docs. When it comes to Microsoft Word, there are several ways of adding accent marks, and obviously, you know, you could do it directly there, or when it comes to like exam time, you can always cut and paste, okay? What you want to do is, if you go to the very top, okay, right next to the home, and this looks, sorry, let me adjust this really quickly. Oh no, it is normal. If you go to insert, okay, and then on the, and I'm going to move this so you can see, insert, okay, there is going to be a key here that says symbol, all right? So click on that. Now, if you're using it for the first time, they are going to show up blank, okay? I have actually used this computer and this room before, and so in showing my students, I showed them, you know, some marks, but let's pretend that there's nothing there. So you would click more symbols, okay? And then all you need to do is find the one that says Latin 1 supplement. And if you notice then, you have the upside down question mark. You have the capital letters with an accent mark. And then of course you have the lowercase letters with an accent mark. So A with an accent mark, O with an accent mark, E with an accent mark. And then of course, in Español, okay, hence the word, you have the ñ. Please don't call it the N with a squiggly line, even though literally it is an N with a squiggly line. It is the ñ. And then you would just hit insert, okay? And then you close that out, and it did not happen, okay? Let me see what I did wrong, okay? Let's see, symbol. Oh, okay. And there you go. Once you just hit the ñ, it pops up, all right? Nothing else to do, all right? If you wanted to hit, come on, oh, symbol, more symbols, okay? If you wanted the, where are you? O, insert, come on, insert, and then close. Now you get an O with an accent mark, okay? And you can do that, like I said, with, you know, any one of the letters that you need whenever you need them, okay? When it comes to spelling things out. And of course, like I said, if you're taking an exam, because you will be taking several of them, you know, you can have that set up and ready to go, and then you can just, ooh, sorry, close up. And then you can kind of just cut and paste, okay? So that's one option right there that you can do, okay? Another option using Microsoft Word, okay, is you go to View, all right, and click on View, nope, sorry, Review, all right, got to get my words right. Go to Review, okay, and then go to Language, okay. Now, do not hit Translate, all right? It doesn't work as good as people think, all right? But if you go to Language, okay, and you go to Set Proofing Language, all right, click on that, and this now gives you a list of every language that Microsoft supports. And you can do this in other Microsoft programs, all right, not just Word. And so, as you can see, just looking at the first couple ones, if you're doing something in Afrikaans, if you're doing something in Albanian, if you're doing something in Arabic, okay, you can actually change Microsoft Word to work in those languages. Obviously, for this class, now, I've used Spanish Latin America and Spanish Spain, but if you, if you scroll down, and I'm going to scroll like really fast, Let's see, let's keep scrolling. Come on, scroll. It actually goes through like different English ones. It goes through different French ones. Come on, Spanish. I apologize. It's being a little booger here. Okay. Oh, no. There we are. Okay. If you go to Spanish, like it gives you Spanish from pretty much every Spanish-speaking country, okay? Like I said, I usually just pick like either Latin America or, you know, traditional. But, you know, if you have a preferred country, go ahead. It doesn't really matter. All right, so let's just here. I'm just going to do plain old Latin America, okay, and click OK. All right, now what this does, okay, is it proofreads and makes corrections just like Microsoft Word does whenever you type in English. So for example, if I were to type like hola, como estás, okay, question mark. Okay, there it is. But if I go through, then do that, and we're still in review, go to language, set proofing language, let's go there, okay. Why is this not working? Sorry, I apologize. Okay. And so in this case now, spelling and grammar, okay. Let's skip over that one. All right. Let's go here. Spelling and grammar. Don't know why it's only working over here. Sorry, I apologize. Proofing. Oh, okay. For some reason, it is not doing it. But it is doing it up here, okay? In this case, it will correct you, you know. It should, okay? Unfortunately, it's not. What if I go, hola, como estás, right there, okay? And it's telling me here, okay, oh, what's wrong here? It says get rid of the space, okay, all right, okay, and there you go, okay. Let's say I want to type the word dia, okay, there we go, now it's doing it. The word dia means day, and it always has an accent mark on the I, and so in this case, I don't know if you caught that, but it put in the accent mark automatically. Okay, because it just has it, all right? There are certain words like después, okay, and boom, it just added the accent mark, all right? Because después has an accent mark on the E, all right? Like, yo tengo 16 años, okay? That literally means I am 16 years old, but it's telling me that años isn't correct. So if you right click, oh, look at that, okay? It tells you that, yeah, it's not correct because you need the squiggly line over the ñ, all right? So that's option number 2, okay? You can set it as the proofing language, and that will totally help you out, okay? Option number 3, and it's going to take me a second here because I need to switch computers. And this one is for those of you who are perhaps maybe a little bit more daring, or you have a better knowledge of computers and whatnot. What you can do is you can download a keyboard. Okay, you can actually download a keyboard in a different language. And so right now I am projecting from my personal laptop, okay? As you can see, it's giving my name, and all of my stuff is in Spanish because that's how I work. But if you go down to this corner and it says ENG, okay? ENG standing for English, meaning that my keyboard is in English, okay? I downloaded a Spanish keyboard, okay? And so now I switched it over, all right? And now it says ESP, okay? What does ESP stand for besides extrasensory perception? ESP is for Español. And so now my keyboard, and I apologize, I am moving this around so much. This keyboard here, okay, will now work as a Spanish keyboard, okay? And so this takes a little getting used to, or at least learning, because now all I have to do then is just type like I normally would. And so, for example, the key with the colon and semicolon, if I were to push it instead of a colon and a semicolon, depending on which one I use, okay, now it's the ñ, okay? If I do shift, which would, obviously, oh, it just did it for me. It corrected it because obviously if I'm starting a sentence, I need a capital ñ. All right, but I can do like a couple of ñ's and then shift, all right, and now I get a capital ñ, all right? And of course, as I'm typing, all right, if I need an accent mark, okay, in this case, that's the left bracket, okay, the left bracket key, and the letter A, and it comes up as an accent. If I want the upside down question mark, there's the plus and the equal sign key, all right? If I just push that key once, it is the upside down question mark, okay? So, no more equal sign, no more plus sign. If I hit shift, okay, it does the upside down exclamation point, which we also use in Spanish. Not necessarily in Spanish 1, but we do use it in Spanish, okay? So if you're daring and if you're willing to switch over your keyboard, you can, in fact, download a Spanish keyboard that you can alternate between. I'm going to switch mine to English right back now, just because I've got some emails in English to send out in a few minutes. So yeah, there's that. Now, the one thing I can't show you, because I'm using this to record, okay, because I am using it to record, oh, sorry, now I'm showing you my email, okay, is if you have a device, a phone or a tablet, specifically iPhone or iPad, if you're like when you're texting someone or if you're doing work on an iPad, all you need to do is hold down the key extra long, and it literally gives you, so if you hold down the N key extra long, it will give you different forms of the N, and one of them is the ñ. If you hold down the letter A extra long, it will give you different A's with like different marks on it, and so then you can find the A with an accent mark. If you hold down the question mark, it will give you like, there's only two. There's a regular question mark and an upside down question mark. So you can do the upside down question mark. Okay, so hopefully this helps. And I am doing this because when you do take the exams, the answers that are in the test bank, if a word requires an accent mark, it will only accept it if it has an accent mark. Otherwise, it will mark it wrong. All right. So, for example, all right, if the answer, and let me switch this over to Spanish one more time. If the answer is teléfono, oops, I can't spell teléfono. Okay. Now, of course, mine did it automatically. All right, because my computer knows me. But let's say I didn't. Let's say I just did that. All right. It will be marked wrong. Okay. And so people get all panicky and upset. Yes, I will go through, and if you wrote that instead of with an accent mark, then, you know, I'll correct it for you and stuff. But please be aware that the software does want it with an accent mark, because it's basically misspelled if you don't. And, you know, in a lot of cases, spelling does count. Now, obviously, you know, you can always do the tricks that I showed you and whatnot. And if for whatever reason you can't do it in Brightspace, because Brightspace kind of sucks, all right? You can, you know, have your letters ready to go in Microsoft Word. And then, of course, you can just do that. You can copy, and then, here, I'm just pretending. You can copy, and then you can go back to your, you know, exam, and there you go. You can paste, and now you have the right answer. All right, so I hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, okay? Or if you need to talk, as I mentioned in my, well, if you haven't read my email yet, as I mentioned in my email, I am not going to be on campus after, you know, during the summer. So I am more than happy to either Zoom or MS Teams with you. All right. Looking forward to the next 5 weeks, and eso es todo. Okay. Hasta luego.